Welcome to Conscious Woman Rising, remembering the sound of embodied feminine. My name is Deepika Delmenico, and I am the founder and host of Conscious Woman Rising. Today I am deeply privileged and so excited to be in conversation with the magnificent Laura Plumb.
Thank you.
Oh, you are, Laura. Laura Plumb is the founder, director of VedaWise, offering professional training in Ayurvedic integrated nutrition. She is also the best-selling author of Ayurveda Cooking for Beginners, host of the 53-part television show called Veda Clean, and a 12-part series called Divine Yoga, and creator and presenter of the Introduction to Ayurvedic Cooking course, hosted by Spirituality and Health. As a graduate of the Kerala Ayurvedic Academy and American Institute of Vedic Sciences and longtime devotee of the Vedas and traveller to India, Laura is an inspiring writer and educator on the power of the Vedic sciences to promote sacred health and sumptuous living. Formerly the General Manager of the Discovery Channel Europe, Laura now offers clinical services in natural medicine for whole person wellness and training in the Vedic sciences. Laura offers classes and consultations in Ayurveda, Jyotish, whole food cooking and nutrition, and serves as a contributing Ayurvedic educator at the UCSD Centre for Integrative Medicine, a staff author for Spirituality and Health, and ambassador for Banyan Botanicals. Laura's blog, foodalovestory.com, is an inspirational resource for Ayurvedic recipes and wise living. Her popular whole food, plant-based seasonal cleansers are powerful, effective, and deliciously nourishing. Laura's articles on health and wellness have been published in Huffington Post, Ayurveda Next Door, Spirituality and Health, and the Times of India, among other national and international media. Like, wow. So if you'd like to make an appointment for retreats and trainings of which Laura offers regularly, please contact Laura directly at laura@plumb.com, and details of how you can be in touch with Laura will be available for you with all the details accompanying this interview as you're listening in now. So welcome, Laura.
Thank you, Deepika. It's beautiful to be with you.
So,
thank you.
Yeah, it's wonderful to be with you again for Conscious Woman Rising, and just to be with you again.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for all the beautiful work that you do, all the beautiful light and presence and offerings that you offer the world.
Yeah. You understand that when we serve in a capacity that is on a project that is so meaningful, we receive such grace. There's
Yes.
So
Blessed.
much joy, so much reward.
Yes.
It's incredibly purposeful. So, but thank you for acknowledging that. I'm so. Today we're going to be in conversation, Laura, about Devis as archetypes of our true nature, which is juicy and
juicy. Good subject.
Potent. So can you share with us a little about Devis as archetypes for or of our true nature?
Sure. Gosh, where to begin?
Yeah.
I guess we begin in the beginning. In the beginning was sound, right? In the beginning was the word. And all spiritual traditions tell us that, and now science tells us that. Quantum physics tells us that the universe as we know it was begun with something like a bang. And of course, it's beautiful to know that we have this technology now that can take microwave radiation, is able to go back, not quite to the beginning of time, but back far enough to some of the early, thousands of years, where they're able to tune in and hear that, in fact, there was an original sound in the note of B flat, and it sounded like waves of Om. And of course, those waves go out into space being not exactly, we think of it as infinite, but not so much. It goes to the edges and bounces back, and those waves bouncing against each other causes friction, and ultimately a star is born. But even before a star is born, sound moves in wave patterns, and those wave patterns create, you could say, divine patterns, patterns of divine energy, patterns of divine motion. And those divine patterns become archetypes. Everything arises out of first sound and then the patterns. And so the archetypes of, let's say, Durga, I'm surrounded here by the red of Durga, Durga, Kali, Lakshmi, Saraswati, especially the Maha Saraswati, Maha Lakshmi, Maha Kali, are not persons. They're not even, we have beautiful pictures and narratives around them, but even before that, they are cosmic patterns. And they are patterns that come forth out of that original sound vibration. And there are cosmic patterns that create the cosmos as we know it now, with its light, its stars, and its forms, including Earth and everything we have here on the Earth, including us. So when we look at these particular archetypes, we're looking at origin, energy. And what happens is we have two things happen. One is that we can dissolve back our scrambled form or scrambled energy and dissolve it back to that pure and original. But the second thing that happens is we can harness the power in those energies to create anew. So when we talk about those divine energies, those bija mantras, for instance, that relate to these archetypes, we are talking about harnessing the power to create a world. And that's a huge power. That's a quantum power. And so it's said that these bijas, right, this seed, bija being seed, mantras are the sound vibration of the yantra, which is the pattern, right? So you've got the mantra as the sound, and you've got the yantra as the pattern. And when you either meditate on a yantra or draw a yantra, and when you chant the mantra, and maybe you draw the yantra as you're chanting the mantra, you're weaving yourself back into the origins of the universe. You're weaving yourself back into the original wholeness of the universe. And not only does that feel good to be reconnected, to feel that wholeness again, that whole you as a part of a whole, interconnected, expansive, and alive, but it's giving you the power to through with a clear mind and an open heart, to really create your life as your soul has intended you to create it.
Wow, this is fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing this, because it's really, it's not only so complete in understanding the energetic resonance of our very nature and the composure of ourselves and all beings in the universe, but it also so eloquently and succinctly describes how, when we relate to or think of deities as well, when we think of them and relate to them with this understanding in this way as archetypes of our true nature, we understand that this is quality that we're working with. We're working qualitatively with particular kinds of energies that are represented by these deities, more so than opposed to the picture that we can identify with, or caricature that we will often relate to or be familiar with. And I love that you mentioned the scrambling and the de-scrambling in order to qualitatively to reinstate flow again.
Right. I was with the Discovery Channel in Europe for many years. And so they used to talk about, sending the signal up to a satellite and sending it back down. But how do we make sure that only subscribers got the channel? They would scramble the signal. And then you had to have a code. You had to have a code to de-scramble the signal. And that's what these mantras are. They're the code that de-scrambles the signal so that we are no longer a scrambled mess, but we become whole again and clear. And then more than that, we become vehicles channeling that beautiful, clear energy of potency into our own lives, but also into the world. And that's what they want for us. They want us to be in service to them. I love, too, the idea that you get through Jyotish, which is that the planets are considered devas. The planets are considered divine energies and divine beings. And that they want to come to the world, but they can't. They're stuck out where they are. Saturn's over there, Mars is over there, right? But they want to come, especially Jupiter and Venus and the more benefic moon, sun, want to come into this world to give their energy. And they come through us, depending on the time, date, and place you were born, right? You've got different planets that are going to be coming through. So it's also interesting to think about, you have a pattern of energy, right? And that's why it's so important to get refined and get clear on which is your Ishtadevata, which is your Deva, which is your right archetype that's going to most align with you and help you open to and be the river, you could say, of that divine flow.
Absolutely. Yeah. And on the most minute level, we are constantly ingesting physical substance of the planets themselves through the metals.
Yes. Yeah.
As we inhale, as we exhale, we even take in these influences in the most minute physical form.
Right. Isn't that great? Yeah.
That's fantastic.
And, right. And it's, we know we live in an electromagnetic field. We know we live in a gravitational field, and we know now ATP, and we know about the nanos that fly through the sky, these invisible little pieces of light that we are inhaling. Absolutely. And we are not separate. It's fabulously fascinating.
Yeah. And it's, it's wonderful. I'm sure there may be people listening that are curious and tweaked and aroused about many things that you've said already, but especially about Jyotish too. And and this is, of course, something that you are very learned and have vast and deep understanding of Jyotish. And if people are wishing to understand more about the planetary influences, and particularly those pertaining to their own individual life and making sense of a purposeful life journey, people can be in touch with you to learn.
And my website, my website, lauraplumb.com, there's a /Jyotish, Jyotish, which is in itself a word that means light. And Ish, of course, means Ishtadevata or Ishvara Pranadhan. Ish meaning the Lord of the universe. So it's understanding yourself as a piece of light, a ray of light, an expression of light given to this time-space continuum. And we have to live according to the laws, right? The natural laws. So Ish being the Lord of this natural world, like Ganesha as well. And so it's also sort of an understanding of you as light and how you can best live according to natural law. It's unbelievable how revealing it is. Like Ayurveda, Jyotish is also just genius. I always say Ayurveda is a genius medicine, and Jyotish is a genius science for really understanding your soul's purpose. Yeah.
Wow. So then, taking all of these incredible elements, how does it all support our inspired purpose and our potentiality as human beings?
Yeah. Well, I first was very interested in Greece and Greek mythology, and I have a friend who's Greek, so I once went to visit and was walking along this island where his family lives, and it's a very quiet, very remote island. So I was very much in nature, and suddenly a wind came up, and it felt like the wind had hair and a voice, and it was a woman sort of flying past me. I suddenly, in an instant, understood where that mythology came from. It came from this daily experience of connection to nature and its elements. And in many ways, the archetypes represent the aliveness of nature. But what I love is that they predate nature as we know it, because nature is something that we experience here on Earth. And these patterns were there before the Earth was even here. That's really what we're talking about. These are origin patterns, origin stories. And, I was going to say to you earlier that while the mantra and the yantra is so essential, the stories help us to connect. The stories are kind of personifications. So they help us to grow a relationship, because now that Devi or Deva, that archetype, becomes not just a star-shaped pattern in the sky, not just some archetype that predates nature and the earth, but actually something that you can visualize as personified. And when you look at that person, you look at the face of the thing, it's as if you can then have a conversation with it. And the whole way that we cultivate these powers is by having that conversation. When it's Jyotish, if somebody wants to strengthen the power of the planet, we talk about cultivating a relationship by repeating that planetary mantra. Sorry.
That's fine.
So it's the same thing with these Devis, is you can look at the pictures, and you can go online now and look at them. Just Google the name, whether it's Mahakali, Maha Saraswati, Maha Lakshmi, Durga, and there's many, many more. But let's start with those. And go and look at them and see which one looks back at you, so to speak. See which one is inviting you in. See which one speaks to you. Not just figuratively, but, in a sense, literally. And that connection is, in a way, all one needs. Invite the friendship, and then cultivate the friendship, and see what it brings to you. Because in terms of intentional purpose, once we open to that relationship will guide us. It will intuitively guide us. And you will feel that it's either a voice in your own heart or the voice of Ma. But you will feel that these voices are coming through and helping guide you in your purpose. Because above all, when you offer yourself to be in relationship with them, and you offer yourself full-heartedly and really in service, well, then your ego has stepped out of the way. And now the true voice can really come through. If we want to be very scientific about it, we might simply say the scrambled thoughts move out of the way thanks to the meditation on that one pure bhavana, or feeling, that expression that these Devis give. And through that meditation, through the de-scrambling of the thoughts in the mind, we can actually hear the clarity of our own truth, our own purpose. The next thing, of course, is that it takes courage to follow through. So that'll give clarity. Durga gives the courage. Durga gives courage. Kali gives clarity. She removes the ego. Lakshmi gives the joy and the peace and the sweetness that makes us want more of it. And Saraswati gives us the truth, the higher knowledge and the wisdom. A simple mantra, as you know, and you may be giving already, but Om Aim Hrim Shrim. Om Aim Hrim Shrim. So Om, of course, we know is the prime mantra. Aim is the one for Saraswati. Hrim is a solar power, and Shrim is this lunar power. And those are just 4 simple bija mantras that can be repeated, just to invoke the Devi, invoke the Divine Mother, the creative intelligence that creates a world and that can help you create a really divine life.
Fantastic. This is wonderful. So it's really, nothing has to be forced in order to cultivate a relationship with these archetypal Devis. If we allow ourselves the spaciousness and the dedication to sincerely listen, then we can simply allow them in to speak to us
Well, as you probably know from your own practice, it's not only that it doesn't have to be forced, it's that it's such a joy.
Such a joy. Such a joy.
It's such a
so
joy.
intimately joyful.
That's really true. And then what emerges makes your whole life more joyful. So why wouldn't we do that? Yeah, absolutely. It's not a homework. It's not a chore. It's absolutely a joy.
Yeah, and it's, I would say it's a even in the most challenging of life moments, it's still such an intimate communion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When working with the mantras, when working with the Devis as archetypes. So, and it's working with. It's like working with your dearest, deepest, best friend who's got your back.
Yes.
It's like,
Yes.
I've got your back, buddy. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
We've got this.
Right. Right.
It's hard, but we've got this.
Yeah. And that's why I always say, it's like you belong. It feels, I always say to people, you belong. Sorry, Deepika.
It's fine.
What you said is so beautiful. It's like you're in an intimate communion. And I love that. It's like they're saying, I've got your back. It's like you feel like you belong to this world and that you're alive on purpose. And that you're alive to know that you're alive in this radiant world where there is all these divine energies here to support you. Mm. And then you just want to go shout it from the nearest mountaintop. You want everyone to know.
Yeah.
Which is probably why you do what you do. You do your bhakti and you do your chanting, and partly right to share it with others.
Yes. Yeah. So the understanding of Devis as archetypes can really support our remembrance of our very nature when we forget the sound of it.
Mm-hmm. When we forget, or as you said, when we're challenged, when we need to call on some strength that we don't even know we have, when we need to call on the courage we don't know we have, when we need to face things we just absolutely don't know how to. I mean, how many times have we had experiences, whether they're challenging experiences or new opportunities, and we just don't even know how to step into it. But then there also, the important thing is Lakshmi gives us the sweetness to keep us going, to keep us on the path. But the important thing is that we don't just use these things when we need them, but that we maintain and that we keep it going, so that we use it when everything's, we continue the mantra, we continue to cultivate the relationship, even when everything's great, even when everything's plateaued, right? Even when we're very busy, because they'll give us what we need in the moment. And the more we do it, the deeper the relationship. It's like any great love story, right? The more we open ourselves to it, the more we show up daily with presence, the more it returns to us, the more it gives back. I mean, it's infinite. And you could say these powers are greater than we are. So if we give what we have, well, it returns that abundantly.
Yeah, so we feed the relationship. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, we have to.
Yes, yeah. So, Laura, what practices do you recommend as fundamental for this holistic embodiment?
Well, just one thing I just thought of when you said we feed the relationship. I thought about a kirtanwala named Bhagavan Das. And in one of his recorded chants, he starts by calling on the conch. So he's blowing on the shell, making that sound. And then he goes, ma, 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 we're here, ma, 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 we're here. And he starts getting louder and louder, ma, 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 we're here, we're here, we're here. And at one point I was in a workshop with him and he said, how does she know where you are if you don't tell her? And not just how does she know where you are, but how does she know you want her? Like, we can't just be like struggling through life and going, why isn't anyone helping me? We have to say, I want to cultivate this relationship with you. I want to be a channel of your light and your love in the world. I want to be open to something greater than even I am. And I want to live that. And I want to live that in service to light and love. Otherwise, how do those energies know? How do they know where to find you? It's really brilliant.
So we have to communicate with these energies. We have to start a dialogue and communicate our intention, our desire, our yearning.
Yeah.
To them.
Back to an Ayurvedic point of view, what is he doing? But he's opening up his lungs as he's shouting there. He's opening his lungs. He's getting circulation going. He's opening up his vocal cords, right? So he's also, in a way, preparing himself for the chant.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we can see these as outer energies, but really we also want to look at them as things that are actually experiences, tools, beliefs that are cultivating our own inner energies. And if somebody wants just to say it's only inner energies, that's fine too. The point is whether we think it's about our uniting with the energies of nature and the energies of the universe, or whether we think we're just cultivating internal energies.
Yes.
It really doesn't matter how you want to cut that cake. What matters is that when you do it, the tools are the same, and as you do it, you will find yourself rewarded, in manifold quality as well as quantity.
Yes.
Well, some tools, I think a simplest tool in the world is to Google a yantra for one of the Devis, and then recite the mantra as you stare at the yantra. And to do, even if it's Om Aim Hrim Shrim, and you've downloaded the yantra of Saraswati, which is beautiful, beautiful greens, or Lakshmi, which is also very beautiful. They're all beautiful ones. But you download off the internet a favorite version of the yantra, print it. In the morning, that could be your simple meditation. You wake up, you staring at the yantra, reciting 108 times, Om Aim Hrim Shrim, Om Aim Hrim Shrim, Om Aim Hrim Shrim. And then throughout the day, now you've got a mantra to take you through the day. You inhale Om, you exhale Aim. You inhale Hrim, you exhale Shrim. So you're moving through the day, and if something comes along that makes you get tight or constricted or afraid or whatever it might be, big inhale Om, nice long exhale Aim, right? Inhale Hrim, exhale Shrim. As long as you're doing it in the morning, you've set it for the day, and now you've got it there to access throughout the day whenever you need it. On the breath, you can do it with your yoga practice. Om. In my morning yoga practice, inhale Om, exhale Hrim. Because Hrim is the solar power, the dawn. Hrim is the power of the day awakening. So it's got all the creative intelligence to create a new day for 7 billion people, plus all the animals and insects and everything else we live on this planet with. And that whole day is being created for us. Hrim is the power of that creation. And so Om and Hrim is, I'm awakening to this new day. I'm awakening with my own creative intelligence to create a beautiful day for myself and for everybody I meet. Om on the inhale, I'm centered, I'm strong. Hrim on the exhale, I'm beginning the day with that creative intelligence, with the awakened power of the sun. Om, Hrim. And those are two good ways to go. In the evening, it would be Om Shrim, because Shrim is the lunar power. So if you do an evening practice, a gentle, calming practice, Om on the inhale, Shrim on the exhale. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Om, Shrim.
And it is embodied practice. It does create embodiment and full aliveness, because it's working with the original tonic, the elixir of life.
Yeah. And you said it in the beginning, these things are these particles, these nanoparticles are in the air.
Yes.
So if you breathe with the mantra, you're acknowledging that, and you're adding intention to that. There's water in the air, so you're creating structured water also that you're breathing in. You could say it to your water as you sip it, Om Aim Hrim Shrim. Creates a structured water, right? So you get those beautiful molecules of healing and wholeness. It's no wonder that ancient people, Deepika, just so your viewers know, that we were in Rishikesh both in March this year.
Yes.
And of course, there on the Ganges, people pray and they recite the mantra. And that doesn't it's not just that the river is holy, but it makes the water that much holier because you're creating structured water. You know, that idea that the molecules of water become more like those beautiful snowflakes that Dr. Emoto showed us in his beautiful work. And so that's what these mantras do as well. They do it to the water that we drink. They do it to the water in our body. They do it to the water in the air that's coming in on the breath, right? So it's very much a way of living more intentionally. I mean, talk about intentional purpose. What if that's your intentional purpose, is to remember mantra every day so that you can become a living embodiment of these divine archetypes? What greater intention is there? What greater purpose could there be?
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
And it promotes such... it's the particles become so intelligent.
Yeah.
They hold the highest intelligence.
Yeah. 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 Absolutely.
That's what we so many of us are seeking and wishing in our being too, whether consciously really aware of it or not. If we're not feeling well, or if something's feeling remiss, that's really what we're seeking to reintegrate and feel our wholeness again.
I love that, because you're bringing it back to the Ayurveda, which is that concept of prajna paradha, right? So that almost all illness is a result of an interruption of the flow of intelligence in the body.
Yes.
And so the mantra is making the particles intelligent, but it's making the body intelligent so it can receive and align and attune and accept, right? And embrace. And so that it can all become one. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's an important point.
And it just illustrates so clearly that, the universe is so benevolent and just has everything in place to support our human experience. It really is designed to consistently, unwaveringly support our evolution, our opportunity to evolve and become more human. Yeah.
I like to say that too, that every step we take in the direction of our wellness will be met, reciprocated, and rewarded abundantly. Because as you say, nature wants us to be healthy. Nature brought us alive, already in place to support us. And everywhere we go, nature's reaching out to feed us delicious food, to give us delicious places to roam, delightful places of beauty, right? Absolutely, you're right. I mean, it is a benefic world.
Yes.
But our thoughts, our scrambled thoughts, often prevent us from experiencing that.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you've given everybody listening in, practical, profound tools in order to change that experience and to unscramble, to access the satellite dish.
Right. It's up there in the sky somewhere. I know you can get it.
Channel to that station. So, Laura, how do you remain soft and bring warmth into your sustainable feminine leadership as a contemporary woman? Because you lead many in all that you do, in your service, in all of your projects.
Get beat up enough time and the hard edges get broken down.
Okay.
No, I've had
loosen the waves.
Right. It's like water eventually erodes it all back to soft sand. I've had great mentors and teachers and guides, and if I'm up against it sometimes, I'll just remember them and slow down. I always think slow down, walk slowly, move like a swan. The swan is a symbol of the cuff, and the cuff always goes so slowly. But that idea is move like a swan. And then I remember when the first time I went to Rishikesh, hearing this definition of enlightenment or self-realization, they said, is not suddenly fireworks going off. Self-realization is a gradual softening into the heart. And so it's the softness that reveals or suggests someone who's been at the practice for a while. because it does. It erodes away the hard edges. No longer, what's the point of having the walls? I mean, somebody loves you today, they don't love you tomorrow. All these things are going to happen anyway. Why put the walls up? Now we've been taught how to feel our feelings. Now we know how to live and live fully and be fully present. We found the place inside of us that is indestructible. And once you found that, you can be open to the world and you can be soft in it, because you're grounded into something that is real and true and everlasting.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. And that's really, it's not only incredibly feminine and an incredible feminine aspect of every human being, but it's sustainable. And I love that you used the words soft and gradual.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be fast and forced. We can relax, be easeful in our relationship to this process.
Right. So if we want a beautiful alliteration, soft and slow versus fast and forced. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah.
Gorgeous. And I think
because we can, go ahead.
Go on, please.
No, I was thinking to say, I mean, forcing things doesn't help. Everything's going to come in its own time. Life is a river, and the river doesn't force itself over a rock. She goes around it. She keeps flowing, right? The river holds its purpose. The river holds its dharma. The river holds its intent, and it flows. And if it comes to a place where the land won't let it go that way, it goes that way and around, So we just go with the flow. Things are all going to come in their own good time. Stay grounded, clear intent, soft heart, open to life. And, you were reading my bio in the beginning, and I have to say, I've been at this a long time. If I wanted to write a book 15, 20 years ago, that would have been forcing it. These things all come in good time. So if anything to say to younger people, be patient, take the steps. All of it will flow. All of it will come. Yeah. Stay, shraddha, take the steps, soft and slow, but keep the shraddha, keep the faith.
Absolutely, because at the pace in which contemporary life is moving and the way that we're living, there is difficulty for people to be patient. There's a sense of urgency around immediacy and having instantaneous results, and that the river didn't forge that pathway instantaneously.
That's right too. Right. That's beautiful. Right. That's beautiful. Yeah. You're so beautiful, Deepika. Thank you.
This is just, it's like a balm being in conversation with you, Laura.
Oh, thank you. I feel the same. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. You have just offered so much wisdom and so many treasures, and I really encourage people listening in to follow up and to, as Laura has invited you to check out and cultivate a relationship with yantras, mantra, and explore relationship to the Devis as archetype. And people can be in touch with you and your work and how to be guided perhaps more in this journey, understand more about Ayurveda and Jyotish through all that Laura offers at lauraplumb.com. So thank you, Laura. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Deepika. Yeah.